08. Windows Explorer. If we want to see a movie, we go to a theater or get a video at home and watch it. It is a matter of choice. Similarly, in a computer, there are different programs for navigating through its content. We can use any of the following: Windows Explorer, Computer, or the Start menu. To view the hierarchical structure of the contents of a computer, in one window, we can use the Windows Explorer. Introduction. Let us consider an example of a library. What do you see in a library? A library is a place where we find books on different topics. Have you observed how these books are arranged? All books relating to the same subject are kept together in the same cupboard or shelf so that we can easily find them. In the same way, Windows Explorer is like a library. It is a powerful feature used to manage the files and folders on the computer so that we can easily find them. We can use the Windows Explorer to view the contents of the computer in the hierarchy of files and folders. We can also view the contents of the recycle bin and network drives using Windows Explorer. Before we learn to use Windows Explorer, let's understand the concept of files, folders, and libraries. Concept of files, folders, and libraries. The data in a computer is actually stored in the different disks such as hard disk and compact disk read-only memory, CD-ROM. The data on these disks is organized as files, folders, and libraries. Files. Files in a computer disk are like books that we use at school. They contain information that we enter and store as individual units. Each file on the computer is identified by a name and is stored in some hierarchy on the computer. The programs, applications, and documents are saved as files on a disk. Folders. Folders in a disk are like drawers that we use at home. Just like drawers contain books and smaller sections, folders contain files and even folders, subfolders inside it. It is a good practice to store related files in one folder so that we can easily find them. Libraries. In libraries, you can include folders from different locations so that you can see the files in one place. Starting Windows Explorer. To start Windows Explorer, click Start button. All programs, accessories, and click the Windows Explorer option from the menu. The Windows Explorer window appears as shown adjacent. Hint: to alternatively start Windows Explorer, right-click the Start button and select the Open Windows Explorer option from the pop-up menu. The Windows Explorer window is divided into two panes, left pane and right pane. The left pane contains favorites, libraries, computer and network, whereas the right pane displays the content of the items selected in the left pane. Desktop under favorites is at the highest level in the hierarchy. You can use libraries to access your files and folders and arrange them in different ways. Documents library. This library is to organize and arrange word processing documents, spreadsheets, presentations, and other text-related files. Pictures library. This library is to organize and arrange your digital pictures, whether you get them from your cameras, scanners, or in email from other people. Music library. This library is to organize and arrange your digital music, such as songs that you rip from an audio CD or that you download from the internet. Videos library. This library is to organize and arrange your videos, such as clips from your digital camera or camcorder, or video files that you download from the internet. Note: by default, files that you move, copy, or save are stored in their respective folders like My Documents, My Pictures, My Music, My Videos. To open the Documents, Pictures, or Music libraries, click the Start button and then click Documents, Pictures, or Music in the right pane. Arranging files. In libraries, you can go a step further by arranging your files in different ways. For example, say you want to arrange the files in your music library by genre, such as jazz and classical. 1. Click the Start button and then click Music. 2. In the library pane, above the file list, click the down arrow next to Arrange By and then click Genre. Finding files. Depending on how many files you have and how they are organized, finding a file might mean browsing through hundreds of files and subfolders is not an easy task. To save time and effort, use the search box to find your file. The search box is located at the top of every window. To find a file, open the folder or library that makes the most sense as a starting point for your search. Click the search box and start typing. The search box filters the current view based on the text that you type. Files are displayed as search results if your search term matches the file's name, tags, or even the text inside a text document. Copying and moving files and folders. Occasionally, you might want to change where files are stored on your computer. You might want to move files to a different folder or copy them to removable media such as CDs or memory cards to share with another person. Most people copy and move files using a method called drag and drop. Start by opening the folder that contains the file or folder you want to move. Then, open the folder where you want to move it to in a different window. Position the windows side by side on the desktop so that you can see the contents of both. Next, drag the file or folder from the first folder to the second folder. That's all there is to it. When using the drag and drop method, you might notice that sometimes the file or folder is copied and at other times it is moved. If you are dragging an item between two folders that are stored on the same hard disk, then the item is moved so that two copies of the same file or folders are not created in the same location. If you drag the item to a folder that is in a different location, such as a network location or to removable media like a CD, then the item is copied. The easiest way to arrange two windows on the desktop is to use Snap side by side. Note: if you copy or move a file or folder to a library, it will be stored in the library's default save location. Another way to copy or move a file is to drag it from the file list to a folder or library in the navigation pane, so you don't need to open two separate windows. Creating files, folders and libraries. The most common way to create new files is by using a program. For example, you can create a text document in a word processing program or a movie file in a video editing program. Some programs create a file as soon as you open them. When you open WordPad, for example, it starts with a blank page. This represents an empty and unsaved file. Start typing, and when you are ready to save your work, click the Save button. In the dialog box that appears, type a file name that will help you find the file again in the future and then click Save. By default, most programs save files in common folders like My Documents and My Pictures, which make it easy to find the files again next time. You can also create new libraries by right-clicking on the libraries in the left pane of the Windows Explorer. Select New option and then select Library from the menu. Deleting files, folders and libraries. When you no longer need a file, you can remove it from your computer to save space and to keep your computer from getting cluttered with unwanted files. To delete a file, open the folder or library that contains the file and then select the file. Press delete on your keyboard and then in the delete file dialog box, click yes. Opening an existing file. To open a file, double-click on it. The file will usually open in the program that you use to create or change it. For example, a text file will open in a word processing program. That's not always the case though. Double-clicking a picture file, for example, will usually open a photo viewer. To change the picture, you need to use a different program. Right-click the file, select Open With, and then click the name of the program that you want to use to open it with. Exercise 1. Fill in the blanks. 2. Tick if true or cross if false in the brackets. 3. Answer the following questions. 1. Explain files, folders and libraries. Answer. Files. Files in a computer disk are like books that we use at school. They contain information that we enter and store as individual units. Each file on the computer is identified by a name and is stored in some hierarchy on the computer. The programs, application, and documents are saved as files on a disk. Folders. Folders in a disk are like drawers that we use at home. Just like drawers contain books and smaller sections, folder contains files and even folders, subfolders inside it. It is a good practice to store related files in one folder so that we can easily find them. Libraries. In libraries, we can include folders from different locations so that we can see the files in one place. 2. How do you open an existing file? Answer. To open a file, double-click on it. The file will usually open in the program that you use to create or change it. For example, a text file will open in a word processing program. That's not always the case, though. Double-clicking a picture file, for example, will usually open a photo viewer. To change the picture, we need to use a different program. Right-click the file, select Open With, and then click the name of the program that we want to use to open it with. Activities. Note. Do on a computer. Create a file with the name My Classmates. Create a folder with the name My Friends. Move the file My Classmates into the folder My Friends. Delete the folder My Friends.